At the edge of a large forest lived a poor woodcutter with his wife and his 2 children. The boy's name was Hansel, the girl's Gretel. The woodcutter barely earned enough money to feed his family, and a time came when he could no longer earn even for their daily bread. One evening he went to bed again troubled, and as he tossed restlessly in bed, he sighed and said to his wife, "What will become of us? How will we feed our poor children when there's nothing left for ourselves?" "Do you know what, husband?" replied the woman, who was the children's stepmother. "Tomorrow, very early, we will take the children into the forest where it is densest. We will light a fire for them and give each a piece of bread. Then we will get on with our work and leave them alone. They won't be able to find their way back home, and that's how we'll get rid of them." "No, woman," said the man, "I cannot do this. My heart doesn't let me leave my children alone in the forest. The wild beasts will find them and tear them apart." "What a fool you are," she said. "You want all 4 of us to starve to death. Then you'll have nothing left to do but nail the boards together for the coffins." And she didn't leave him alone until he agreed. "Still, I feel sorry for the poor children," said the man. The 2 children also could not sleep from hunger and heard what the stepmother said to the father. Gretel cried bitterly and said to Hansel, "We are lost." "Be quiet, Gretel," said Hansel. "Don't cry. I'll think of something." And when their parents fell asleep, he got up, put on his little coat, opened the door, and slipped outside. There the moonlight shone brightly, and the small white pebbles scattered in front of the house gleamed like real coins. Hansel bent down and filled the pockets of his little coat as much as he could. Then he returned home and said to Gretel, "Don't worry, dear little sister. Sleep peacefully. God will not abandon us." And again you are lying in bed. As it dawned, even before the sun rose, the woman came and woke up the 2 children. "Get up, lazybones. We're going to the forest for wood." Then she gave each one a piece of bread and said, "This is your lunch. If you eat it earlier, you won't get anything afterwards." Gretel tucked the bread under her apron because Hansel's pockets were full of stones. Then, all together, they set off towards the forest. After walking a little way, Hansel stopped and looked back at the house. He did this several times. The father said, "Hansel, what are you always looking at and falling behind for? Pay attention and look at your feet." "Oh, father," said Hansel, "I'm looking for my white kitten, which is sitting up on the roof and wants to tell me goodbye." The woman said, "Silly, this isn't a kitten, but the morning sun shining above the chimney." But Hansel wasn't looking for the kitten. He was throwing the shiny pebbles from his pocket onto the path, one after another. As soon as they reached the middle of the forest, the father said, "Now, children, go and gather firewood. I will light a fire for you so that you can warm yourselves." Hansel and Gretel gathered a whole pile of dry branches. They lit the fire, and when the flame rose high, the woman said, "Children, sit by the fire now and rest. We're going to chop wood. When we're done, we'll come to get you." Hansel and Gretel sat by the fire, and as soon as it was noon, each of them ate their piece of bread. And since they heard the axe strokes, they thought their father was nearby. But these were not axe strokes, but a branch he had tied to a dry tree, and the wind was swaying it back and forth. The children stayed by the fire for so long that from weariness their eyes closed, and they fell asleep. When they finally woke up, it was already dark night. Gretel began to cry and said, "How will we get out of the forest now?" And Hansel comforted her. "Wait a moment until the moon appears, then we'll easily find the way." And when the bright moon rose, Hansel took his little sister by the hand, and they followed the pebbles, which shone like newly minted coins, and showed them the way. They walked like that all through the night, and as soon as it began to dawn, they reached their father's house. They knocked on the door, and when their stepmother opened it and saw that it was Hansel and Gretel, she said, "You bad children, why did you sleep for so long in the forest? We thought you wouldn't return anymore." Not much time passed. Misery afflicted them again, and the children heard how one evening the stepmother said to the father, "We ate everything again, only half a loaf of bread is left. An end must be put to all of this now. The children must leave from here. Let's take them deeper into the forest so they can't find their way home again. There is no other salvation for us." The man's heart tightened with pity, and he said, "It's better to share even the last bite with the children." But the woman wouldn't let a word be said. She cursed and reproached him. And since he had given in once, he was forced to give in a second time. But the children were still awake and heard the conversation. When their parents fell asleep, Hansel again got out of bed, wanting to go outside and gather pebbles, just like the previous time, but the woman had locked the door and Hansel couldn't get out. But to comfort his little sister, he said, "Don't cry, Gretel. Sleep peacefully. Good Grandpa God will take care of us." Early the next morning, the woman came in and made the children get out of bed. She gave them a piece of bread, but it was even smaller than the previous time. On the way to the forest, Hansel crumbled the bread in his pocket. Then he often stopped and dropped a crumb on the ground. "Hansel, why are you stopping and looking back?" said the father. "Go on your way." "I'm looking for my little dove which has perched on the roof and wants to tell me goodbye," Hansel replied. "You silly thing," said the woman. "That's not your little pigeon, but the morning sun shining over the chimney." But Hansel was dropping all the crumbs one by one along the way. The woman led the children even deeper into the forest, all the way to where their foot had never trod. They lit a big fire again, and the stepmother said, "Children, stay here, and if you are tired, you can sleep. We will go chop wood, and this evening, when we finish, we will come to get you." When noon came, Gretel shared her piece of bread with Hansel because he had crumbled his crust along the way. Then the two of them fell asleep. The evening passed, but no one came to get the poor children. They woke up only in the middle of the night, and Hansel comforted his little sister with the words, "Wait, Gretel, until the moon appears, then we will be able to see the breadcrumbs I scattered along the way. They will show us the way home." When the moon rose, they went through the forest, but found not a single crumb of bread, because the numerous birds that fly throughout the field and forest had pecked them clean. Hansel said to Gretel, "We will find the way. Don't be afraid." But they did not find him. They walked all night and the next day until evening, but they could not get out of the forest. They were starving because they hadn't eaten anything else but a few wild strawberries they had seen in the grass along the way, and they were so tired that their legs could barely hold them. They lay down under a tree and fell asleep. The third morning had arrived since they had left their father's home. They set off on their journey again, but were going deeper and deeper into the forest. And if help didn't come soon from somewhere, they would perish from hunger. When it was noon, the children saw a beautiful snow-white bird on a branch. It was chirping so sweetly that they stopped and listened to its song. When it stopped singing, the bird spread its wings and flew ahead of the children, and they followed it until they finally reached a small house. The bird landed on the roof. As they approached, they saw that the house was made of bread and covered with sweet bread, and the windows were made of sugar. "Now we will have a wonderful feast," said Hansel. "I will eat a piece of the roof, Gretel, and you can eat from the window. It must be very sweet." Hansel reached up with his hands and broke off a piece of the roof to taste if it was good, and Gretel stood by the window and munched on it. Then from the little house a thin voice was heard, "Who shakes my house, and without fear eats from it?" And the children replied, "Wind, wind blows hard. He swings the little house," and without being disturbed, they continued to eat. Hansel broke off a large piece from the roof. Gretel pulled out a whole round pane of glass from the window, sat down and crunched sweetly. But lo and behold, the door opened and a very, very old woman leaning on a stick poked her head out. Hansel and Gretel were so frightened that they dropped the pieces they held in their hands. The old woman shook her head and said, "Oh, who brought you here, dear children? Come in and stay with me. I won't do you any harm." She took them by the hands and led them into the cottage. She set the most delicious treats on the table: milk and pancakes with sugar, apples and walnuts. Then she made up 2 nice little beds with white sheets, and Hansel and Gretel snuggled into them, thinking they were in paradise. But the old woman only pretended to be kind. She was an evil witch who preyed on children and had built the little house only to lure them. As soon as a child fell into her hands, she would kill it, roast it, and eat it, and that day was a feast for her. Witches have red eyes and cannot see far, but they have a keen sense of smell like beasts and sense a person's approach. When Hansel and Gretel approached the little house, the witch cackled maliciously and said mockingly, "They fell into my hands, now they can't escape me." Early in the morning, before the children woke up, she was already up, and when she saw them, sleeping soundly, with beautiful rosy cheeks, she muttered to herself, "I'm going to have a good meal, no doubt." Then she grabbed Hansel with her bony hand, led him into a pen, and locked him inside behind a grate. No matter how much he screamed, there was no one to help him. Then she went to Gretel, shook her hard to wake her up, and shouted, "Get up, lazy bones, bring water, and cook something nice for your brother. I've locked him in the pen so he can fatten up. And once he fattens up, I'll eat him." Gretel cried bitterly, but in vain. She had to do everything the evil witch wanted. A good meal was cooked for poor Hansel, but Gretel received only crab shells. Every morning, the old woman went to the pen and called out, "Hansel, stick out your finger so I can see if you'll soon be fat." But Hansel kept giving her a small bone, and the old woman, who could barely see with her dim eyes, did not realize the deception. She thought it was Hansel's finger and wondered why he wasn't getting fatter. After 4 weeks had passed and Hansel was still so skinny, she lost patience and could not wait any longer. "Hey, Gretel," she called to the girl, "hurry and bring water. Fat or thin, tomorrow I will butcher Hansel and cook him." Ah, how the poor little sister cried while she carried the water, and how the tears streamed down her face one after another. "Please, dear God, help us!" it cried out. "It would have been better if the wild beasts in the forest had eaten us. At least we would have died together." "Oh, just stop whining," said the old woman. "Nothing will help you." Early in the morning, Gretel had to be outside to hang the cauldron with water and to light a fire. "First we will bake the bread," said the witch. "I have already lit the oven and kneaded the dough." She shoved the poor Gretel towards the oven, and from there fiery flames were already spewing. "Get inside," said the evil old woman, "and see if it's well heated so we can put the bread in." The witch had intended, as soon as Gretel entered, to lock her in and bake her, because she wanted to eat her too. But Gretel guessed what the wicked old woman would do and said, "I don't know how to get in." "You fool," said the old woman. "Can't you see the opening is so big that even I can get in?" She tottered to the oven and stuck her head inside. Then Gretel pushed her so hard that she tumbled completely into the oven. The girl closed the iron door and slid the bolt. Oh, how terribly the witch shrieked. But Gretel ran away, and the wicked old woman burned to death. And Gretel ran straight to Hansel, opened the cage and cried out, "Hansel, we are saved. The old witch is dead." Hansel flew out of the cage like a bird from a cell as soon as his sister opened the door. How happy they were! They hugged, jumped, and kissed. And since they no longer had anything to fear, they went into the witch's house. There, in every corner, there was a chest with pearls and precious stones. "These are better than shiny pebbles," said Hansel, and filled his pockets as full as they could hold. And Gretel said, "I want to take something home too." And she filled her apron. "And now let's go," said Hansel, "and get out of this enchanted forest." But after walking for several hours, they reached a wide river. "How will we get to the other side?" said Hansel. "I don't see a ford or a bridge." "There's no boat either," replied Gretel, "but over there swims a white duck. If I ask her, she might carry us across." Then she called out, little duck, I am Gretel. And this is my brother dear. Please take us on your back, carry us across the river." The duck came closer. Hansel got onto its back and told his little sister to sit beside him. "No," replied Gretel, "it will be too heavy for the duck. It's better if she carries us, one by one." The good duck did as she was asked, and when they had crossed over and walked a little further, the forest began to look more and more familiar to them. Finally, they spotted their father's house. They ran there, and upon entering, threw themselves into their father's arms. The man had not known a happy day since he left the children in the forest, and his wife had already died. Gretel emptied her apron, and pearls and precious stones spilled onto the floor, and Hansel pulled out handful after handful from his pockets. Thus came the end of all their troubles, and they lived joyfully and happily.